So guys, we just wrapped up a day of filming out here in the range, and as me and Callsign OP were packing up some of the equipment here, get ready to go home, we started having a discussion about concealed carry, and that kind of inspired me to make this video for you and say that concealed carry is not about the right to carry a gun. It's not about the gun that you're carrying. It's not even about the cool gear that we're always recommending to you guys. But what it's about is making a choice, a mental choice, to potentially end someone's life in the defense of yours or your loved ones. It's a really sobering thing to think about, and don't get me wrong and say, or take me as saying that concealed carry is about neglecting conflict avoidance or about looking for confrontation, being the cowboy with the gun on your hip. And it certainly is not about setting out to get into a gunfight and to kill someone. But the reality is, when you're using a gun or a knife or some type of defensive implement, if you find yourself in a dynamic critical incident, there's a high probability of death or great bodily harm. And that choice, that choice that could result in death, is something that you have to live with for the rest of your life if you find yourself in that situation. I'll tell you guys a personal story that I've heard my parents have conversations over. My mom will say from time to time, you know, I don't think I could ever shoot someone. I don't think I could ever kill someone. And my dad will look at her and say, you know, you could do it if you had to. And to respond to that, what I would say is, no, you probably can't. If you're not able, if you can sit in a controlled environment in the safety of your own home and think about possibly taking someone's life out of necessity for your own, in protection for your own, and you have hesitation, then my recommendation is don't carry a gun, at least not right now. It's a choice that you have to be okay with before you put the gun on and before you walk out the door of your house. If you're not okay with that decision, to mentally step up to that level if or when needed, then should you find yourself in one of those situations, a defensive situation, you're going to freeze even more. You're probably going to pause even more. And that hesitation not only puts you at a greater exposure to danger and a longer exposure to danger from the person attacking you, but it opens up the opportunity for your attacker to disarm you, to take your gun away, your knife away. Now you have a even bigger problem than what it was before. So I highly recommend people to really consider the sobering reality of concealed carry before deciding to put that gun on their hip or that knife in their pocket and go out with the intent of defending themselves or certainly their loved ones. To further the point of protecting other people around you, let's strictly talk about your family and your loved ones in the situation. If you make a choice and tell your family, you can rely on me, I am your first responder, and you're not ready to be that first responder, then I feel that you're doing them a disservice, because they're trusting you with protecting them. They're trusting you to respond and to get them home safely, no matter what the cost, what the extent. And I think it'd be a lot more beneficial to sit down with your family or your spouse and say, have a conversation about it. Say, you know, I'm not really ready yet. You know, don't count on me to do this. Don't count on me to step up if needed, at least not right now. And that's something that I'm not saying or speaking down to anyone and saying if you can't make that choice now, you never will, and you're a lesser person. That's not my intention at all. What I am saying is make sure that you understand and those that are around you understand, so that if you're the one being relied on to be a first responder, you can do the job appropriately if you ever need to. What concealed carry comes down to is that you are your own and your family's first responder. The probability of you being attacked when you're standing next to a police officer having a conversation in a store, a convenience store, is very low. You know, law enforcement has a hard job, and I think they do it well. They have full support from me. Not an easy position to work in, but typically they're going to be a reactionary force. So they're going to show up after these situations have unfolded. You know, you can look at statistics all over the internet and talk to people who have been in these situations. Dynamic critical incidences, defensive situations are over before somebody calls 911 in most cases, and then you add in the response time. So what concealed carry is really a measure in responsibility and a step up in your responsibility to make that choice and act as a first responder before anyone else has the ability to get there. And then when help is on the way, understanding how to respond to that help, to law enforcement when they show up, understanding how to cooperate with them and what's going to happen. And that kind of goes down a farther road. But in a nutshell, guys, we wanted to give you some of our thoughts on what concealed carry means to us.